Welcome everyone to Legion Gaming. I'm your host Donnie, and as always, I'm joined by my club co-host Deucy.
Cowabunga!
Deucy, how are you this fanciful Saturday afternoon?
Hey, it's good to be back. Like we were just talking about, it's been a while. We space out our recordings a little more, so I don't know. I'm ready to do this. I've been looking forward to it all week after a couple hard weeks of work, and now it's just time to relax and talk about games.
It's going to be a great episode, and I say that every time because, it's hard for us not to have a great time, frankly. But this is a very exciting topic for both of us, and really for just about anyone listening, I'm sure. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo. We're covering the whole trilogy today of 1, 2, and 3, which is the arcade game, and then the Manhattan Project. But this topic kind of precipitated because of a game that I'll talk about later, Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. I was like, well, why don't we do Turtles? Like, it's such an easy thing to do. We love the Turtles. We grew up with them, and we love the games. Why not?
Because, and we decided to kind of split it up because the one that everybody probably thinks of the most is going to be coming up in like a later episode.
Yeah.
The Turtles in Time is everybody's favorite. But we wanted to go back to the origins, like the ones that we grew up with that got us excited for Turtles in Time.
Yeah, and the ones that we played because we were such Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle heads that like we just wanted everything TMNT. It didn't matter what it was, and the games, no matter how good or bad they were, it didn't matter. They were TMNT, and that's what we wanted at the time.
Yep.
So we'll get to that soon enough, but before then, Deucy, what have you been playing lately?
Man, in the past month or so.
I know, it's been crazy. It's been crazy.
No, I think the craziest part is that, and I mentioned this to you one time just in a random text, but like our currently playing is lining up more now than ever. Like I know the ones I'm going to mention are probably ones you could mention like right alongside with me. The first one is I was going to talk about that Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. Another game where like I hadn't heard about it, and then when I saw it previewed and I sent it to you, you were like, oh yeah, I knew about this. I had no idea it was already out.
Yeah, because I had sent you the trailer like, I don't know, it was like a week or two previous to that, and then I'd heard about it. I heard nothing about it. It was an Apple Arcade game before this. And there's some games in Apple Arcade that I have no interest in Apple Arcade because it's a subscription service, but apparently there's some really good games on there. There's a handful of them. I don't know how great they are.
Yeah, when I heard Apple Arcade, I expected your typical like phone shovelware game.
Exactly.
But this really turned out to be, and I don't think they changed it much for consoles, but like this turned out to be a really good sort of roguelike Hades clone type thing, but with Ninja Turtles, which got my attention more so than any of those other games out there.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Hades. I played that in early access, and I bought it a few times on release.
Yeah, it's been out a few times.
It's been out a few times.
2 out?
That's an early access, and I've heard great things about that already. I think that's a 2025 release.
Man, they've been talking about that one for a while.
They have been, but they take their time. It's I think that it's Supergiant Games are the developers, and they, each of their games has been excellent. There's Bastion. Pyre's probably the one I like the least, but it's still really good.
I remember Bastion. That's old on the 360.
360, yeah. And there's also Transistor, which I think is a really underrated sort of tactics game that looks and plays gorgeous. But they've been working on Hades too. But getting back to Turtles,
yep.
As soon as I heard it was a Hades clone, and it very much is, I was all in. You had the Turtles license. It's like, what more could you want from this?
It is, like I said, surprisingly well done. There's a ton of voice acting in it, a lot more than I expected, and it all sounds pretty great because they're all. Some of them are actually former like Turtles voices from other shows and properties, and some of them are just your typical voice actors from tons and tons of games.
Yeah, and the art's really good. Like all the character portraits are really nice. They all have their distinctive personalities. There's a lot of characters you meet, like Casey later on. And the whole premise of the game is like it's a loop. So you're only going to get so far because you have to level up all of your stats, like all of your abilities, all of your different artifacts that grant you more abilities. And you have to do that over and over and over to get through the game. And it gets pretty hard. Like I've been through a few times, and I've gone to Shredder's hub, like his sort of, the last world. But I get shredded the moment I'm there because the whole thing is like the more you progress, the more currency you get, which allows you to get those upgrades. And then that's when you can, eventually level up everything and then get through the game more and more. And the whole thing is like the more you loop through the game, the more that unlocks as far as abilities and everything else.
Yeah, and I was noticing, I think some of the abilities might be a little random in the beginning because I played one playthrough and then I watched a couple people play on YouTube and they were getting potential early moves and things that I didn't see, but he was playing as the same, like he was playing as Raphael, same as me.
So the abilities are randomized, and then some of the things you can level up increase the chances of, if like the first ability granted is like a level 2 ability, because that's the thing is like every time you clear a room, you're allowed to select one ability or currency or wherever else to go into the next room. So that's the thing is those abilities you level up that are sort of in your main hub, it grants you better chances to get like, fire element abilities, ninja abilities, or like you'll get a leveled up ability to start out with, so it makes the game a little bit easier. But that's the fun of the game is like there's so much randomness to it, and like I'm still finding new abilities that I hadn't found before, which is really cool.
Oh yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of depth to this game, and it's great because it's really just a beat 'em up, but it's a roguelike. So it has the sensibility of a beat 'em up, which is just replayability and going through the game over and over again. Granted, it gets really freaking hard, but there's a really fun loop, and it's co-op, which we haven't tried yet.
Yeah, we really should try that, but I got to get back into it because I got sidetracked by a couple of the other things that we'll be playing, or that's on our currently playing, and then also the games for today's episode. I went through here and there to refresh myself. I think I only got to Leatherhead in the Shattered one, and then one room past him, and it was like a steep ramp up in difficulty.
It gets pretty hard, and then you fight Karai, who's really hard. And what's also crazy is that I don't know how it works, but they have different. The bosses can have different patterns. So like later on, I fought a Karai that had like this crazy fire effect that was way more difficult than the previous version I fought. So there's also that aspect to it too. And yeah, there's just a lot to this game that I was very impressed with. I didn't expect to have so much fun with it and have so much variety.
Another game I didn't expect to have much fun with, but I guess it's kind of classic, is we got back into Modern Warfare 3 because it's now on Game Pass, and that was the only way I kind of wanted to play it was for free. But I've only done the multiplayer. And with you, I have downloaded Warzone, but I haven't gotten into any matches with you on that one. But, I was surprised. I kind of forgot that, like, a lot of the Modern Warfare 2 stuff was going to carry over. The character skins, the guns. Luckily, I'd, maxed out a ton of the previous guns, so I wasn't starting too fresh in this one. And, got right back into the swing of things. It was more of the same, but... I just had this itch I wanted to shoot things again and see the XP, build up and stuff like that. They know how to get you. It's like a drug.
Of course, that's how they keep you playing. Like, and from my perspective, like I had bought Mario Kart 3 last year when it was on sale. And I played the multiplayer like a little bit, but my thing was Warzone because I play with my own group there.
Yeah.
So we play that pretty regularly, and it's also hard because they have their own. They have families and stuff and kids. So it's like when they can play, it's usually like, all right, well, we can play because he's free for a few hours. But
get on now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like how Warzone could be. It's like some nights you'll be doing really well, getting high placements. Other nights it's like you're getting slaughtered for no reason at all.
You get like multiple matches because it's very quick.
It's very quick, yeah. And then you might get that one win, and you're like, all right, well, I got to play another.
Yeah.
So, and then we got back into multiplayer, which has been really great because now it's like at that point where it's like we're almost texting each other, right? It's like, hey, you want to go do some shooting or what? All of a sudden we're sitting there for like 3-4 hours,
and we're back into the looking up. But what guns are good? What level has this little sneaky area? That sort of thing.
Well, that's the thing is it's funny. Like I always call them a flavor of the week, the weapon that's usually broken for the current time.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I've maxed out. I think just about all the weapons because of Warzone. But, it's fun when I see a new weapon. I'm like, oh, that's the flavor of the week. Like that, this RPK thing I saw was like a sniper rifle.
Oh, yeah.
And I built that thing. I was like, oh, now I see why it's broken and stupid,
And it's funny that was an old gun that just got made new again with the little thing that you got.
Yeah, the little conversion kit.
That altered it. It's like, I wonder if they even knew that it was broken because they didn't expect people to still be using
I don't know.
Modern Warfare 2 guns.
My thing with this game and just in general of any game that has to deal with balancing is like obviously the more you have to balance, the worse it is. So there's going to be things where it's like you can only test so many configurations, and it's like I don't think you can mathematically figure out these things of like what's going to be broken ahead of time.
No,
you just have to let it out into the wild and let the community figure it out.
It's up to the community to do all the math and then circumvent your stops.
Yeah, and you get mad for 2 or 3 weeks, then they nerf it, and then you find a new weapon that's overpowered. It's just the flow of Call of Duty, but we're in it.
Yep.
We're having a great time. Yeah.
And then I'm going to say for last, but certainly not least for me, this was a game that I was actually really looking forward to coming out ever since you sent that initial trailer for it was the NES World or the Nintendo World Championships NES edition. I've been having a great time with that. It's a fun. I really see it as like an introductory to speed running.
That's pretty much what it is, because every challenge is essentially a speed run of some kind.
Yeah. I was surprised they should have had Tetris in there at some point, but for like a score challenge, because that was how the original championships worked.
Yeah,
you had like 2 quick ones and then the score for Tetris. Maybe there was a score on Mario too, something like that. But like, I do like that they included more than just 3 games that the original championships had. I do understand the critiques from some of the people online about like some of the challenges are just way too easy, but at the same time they're also very introductory. Like you pointed out in a picture, they show a little blurb of like these were when the championships were held, and some of you couldn't make it to them because of travel expenses, and some of them you couldn't make to because you weren't born yet.
Yeah, that was my favorite gag that they put right in your face. Yeah,
and it's true. Like you got to think about a lot of the youngins these days have no idea what these games were like back when they were first being run, and some of them now, like I grew up with those, but some of them I still dislike, like Ice Climbers.
Well, I was gonna say
I hate that
that's
one.
Yeah, I have my own critiques about it. Like I've been playing this too, obviously, and I really enjoy it. But it's like they should have just done away with Ice Climbers and Balloon Fight. Two of the most useless games you could have added to this. Like I understand that there's sort of a bit of a history with Nintendo, but it's also like you could have picked 2 other games that don't suck, because both those games suck. There's nothing fun about them.
No,
even these bite-sized challenges are not great.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a speedrunning community out there for those games, but those are the only people interested in those games.
Yeah, and everyone else, for me, like I get through the challenges because I kind of have to do some completionist, right? You have to get through everything.
Yeah.
And I really like this game, but I didn't burn myself out. I just was like, well, there's no leaderboards. There's no real friendly leaderboards. There's no online co-op. This game only has so much legs for me, even though I really enjoy it. It's like without that, I'm just finishing these challenges, and also it's like there's some games I have to literally suffer through, like Balloon Fight, and Ice Climbers.
Like I said, I understand the criticisms, but I kind of hate some of the criticisms that are being put out there by like professional speedrunners. I'm like, stick to your own games. Like this wasn't meant for you. This was meant for people who are interested in what you do, but definitely can't do what you do.
Well, it's also more of a party game too than anything else, because it is up to 8 players locally. Like there's no online co-op, but that's the thing. It's like you're not going to be a speedrunner playing this, because if you're a speedrunner, you're probably going to play either on emulators or original hardware. You're not going to play an emulated version of a Nintendo game in these bite-sized challenges.
Yeah, I was watching some of the speedrunners try to do certain things, and then like they have cut back on a lot of the glitches. So it's like this. What does it say? This tactic is not
available
or something like that. And it's like, haha, you got to do it legitimate.
But it's also like, there's such a niche community too, right? Because if I had like, if we had like my nieces over or something, or if I had some people who never played Nintendo games or haven't played it in like decades, they're not going to be upset that a certain glitch isn't going to be in there.
Yeah,
right?
True.
The vast majority of people playing this game in a party setting or a casual setting aren't going to think twice about what glitches were or weren't in there. They're going to be like, oh, this is really cool to play. Like, oh, we're doing a Zelda challenge. It's more about the fun of the game versus the how technically sound it is compared to the original versions.
I am hopeful that they do add on like more challenges or different games. Leaderboards would be great. It's not a deal breaker for me, because you do get the little leaderboards at the end of the week when you do the World Championships itself. But leaderboards in the meantime would be pretty fun. But it was also weird to me that like the second day it was out, people were already screaming for like new games, and I hope they put in new games. It's like, it's 2 days old.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. There's some people who, I don't know, I think in general, like, I don't know how big of a clamor it is, but I just hate when people are just screaming for the biggest games possible when a lot of games don't need to be that big.
Yeah.
Like this game's been out 1 or 2 days. What are you screaming for? There's 10, was there 11, 13 Nintendo games in here?
I want to say, 11 or 13.
11 or 13. There was some odd number like that.
Yeah.
And there's probably about 150 challenges between all of them, maybe a little more. That's a lot.
Yeah.
If you're burning through 150 challenges, granted they're seconds long.
Yeah.
Like I was burning through quite a bit of them too, but also it's like I'm aware I'm burning through them too. Yeah. And I have a billion other games we could play.
I just like it now for, like you said, you get burned out of it. But I just like it now to pick up and sort of play a couple rounds while I'm waiting for something. Like,
yeah, it's super quick.
Yeah.
I love it. And then of course you get the sort of OCD where it's like you could beat your time.
Yeah.
Like you felt like you missed an input or something, so you immediately restart and you're hooked on one challenge for like 15 minutes.
I'm still, just yesterday I played a Zelda challenge and I knocked off 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, because you're like, I know I could do this quicker.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's the most compelling thing about this is if you have that itch where you feel like you want to beat your own time, you can. But I just think it's an absolute miss that there's not one leaderboard at all in this game. Like that sucks when, you and I could get S times or whatever, but it's like, all right, cool. Like, what do we?
Yeah,
like,
I have to text you and ask.
Yeah, like it's like it's kind of old school in a sense, but at the same time, like there's no excuse why Nintendo couldn't put leaderboards, even with just comparing with friends.
Yeah,
at minimum. So it's again, that's like a minor nitpick. Overall, like if you're waiting for this game, you're gonna play it, you're gonna enjoy the hell of it because it's a fun time, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe we'll do some like couch competition or something with it. And
yeah,
if we have people over for like a wrestling weekend or something, we can pop that in too.
I think it's a fantastic game. Maybe a little overpriced in its current form, but at the same time, like for us, no, it's fine. $50, we were all in for it.
We got the what do they call that? The special
the
edition.
deluxe edition, which is really cool with the gold cart gimmick and
and the pins.
The pins that look really, really nice. Like it's only, $10 or $15 extra, but it was worthwhile.
Those little poster cards too, it reminded me of flashcards because on one side is like a character and on the other side is what the box art looked like.
Yeah.
So you can hold up the character and ask a kid, who's this?
Who's this?
What game
You're
is
right.
this?
So I've been playing basically what you have been playing, like you said, those three. And then more importantly, I got PSVR 2 this week. So there was a huge sale on it because Sony's doing like a back to school sale, which I always think is funny when game companies do big back to school sales.
Yeah.
It's like just video games.
Here's this instead of homework.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, as someone who's not in school, I took advantage because it was on sale. Plus I had like a huge birthday gift card and I got the set for it's like $150 or something dumb after everything, which is just stupid cheap.
Yeah.
And I had PSVR 1. I liked it, but it was such a pain in the ass to hook up everything with the little box, all the extra cables you needed. The thing I really like about the PSVR 2 is like it's one single cable that hooks in the front of the PS5. That's it.
Damn.
Yeah, it's great. So you just hook it in, you're ready to play. And then you have the two motion controllers, which kind of fit around your hands now. So I played a few games. I played Gran Turismo 7 and God, what an experience that is. It's so trippy. Like I'm trying to orient myself because you use the controller to drive your car, but then you can move all around. Like I posted a video on Instagram, like on our story there where I was like looking behind me because I could see like someone in my rearview sights. I was like, oh geez, like they're right there.
I saw that when you looked back, I was like, yeah, I probably would have looked back then too.
Yeah, like you kind of are compelled to. And it's just a trip because, like I'm shifting my body and like I could feel myself move in the car.
Oh.
It's such a weird experience. Whoa. And like you're kind of like looking around because you have freedom to do that.
This would be the game to have one of those like chest piece force feedback things and you feel the G's.
That would be. And then the other game I played was Tetris Connected, which is a really awesome experience because it's just Tetris. It's you play the controller, the regular controller, and you're playing Tetris with all the themed worlds and Connected, which are all amazing and sound amazing. But now you have 3D sound with the headphones that are just in your ear, and the entire sort of background cosmic abstract whatever they got going on now envelops you everywhere. So you have the the Tetris board in front of you and all around you is just sort of like whatever animated environment they have.
Yeah, that I always play that game with headphones on, which is what they recommend if you don't have this VR thing. But I saw you playing the VR one too, and I was like, that is trippy. And
it is a weird experience.
Sign me up.
Yeah, it's totally cool. So I'm excited for you to try because I'm sure on the next recording you'll probably be like, yeah, we played this. I checked it out. And the last game I tried, because I only have a few right now, and I've been trying to cycle through them, was Resident Evil 4. And you can play the entire game in VR. It looks really nice.
It sounds really difficult.
It's a trip, yeah, because on your right hand, like you have to grab the gun from your thigh, like your sidearm, and then shoot with that. And then you can if you grab your chest, there's like your grenades and whatnot there you can toss. Like you literally have to toss them or lob them.
Whoa.
And then on your upper left chest is your knife. So you could take that out with your VR hand and, stab around. And then and on your left thigh, you have an ammo pack. So every time you run out of ammo, you have to eject the clip, take it from your ammo pack, jam it in there. Or the shotgun has it where you have to load the shells in and then cock it. And you're doing this while, normal Resident Evil 4 is going on.
Yeah.
So I only played it was like 45 minutes of it because I really want to play Tetris. And, Resident Evil 4 it's a long game. It's like 16 to 30 hours depending on how you're playing, right?
Yeah.
Probably add some more time to that in VR because you're dying a lot more.
I was gonna say, how many times have you died?
I died at least twice.
Oh God,
which is pretty reasonable given like I was still getting used to things.
Of course, in the early area when I first started up the remaster, I died. And I was surprised.
It's easy to die, especially in the I feel like the beginning of Resident Evil 4 Remake is more difficult than the rest of the game. Like there's first couple of chapters where you're still trying to get your sea legs and get more ammo and guns and supplies. Like that first section is really, really tough. Tougher than most of the game.
Get used to the new aiming. Yeah, that's all of that.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 4 in VR, a fantastic experience. It's really trippy because you're moving in VR and your head can swivel wherever you go.
Can you put the gun up to your eyesight so you aim down the iron sights and everything?
Well, I mean, when you take the gun out, like it's like a free moving arm. So wherever you aim, like if you wanted to aim it like this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm by the way, I'm motioning towards Deucy as if I'm aiming down iron sights. This is an oral thing here. You can aim down that way, but for me, I was just kind of like almost like House of the Deading, time crisis thing. Just
hip fire.
Yeah. So it works, but it wasn't working. So it's been PSVR has been a pretty great time. I'm happy with it so far. I think there's. I know it has challenges with like games right now. It has been, but at the price I got it, I was like, I may as well just jump in because it's just too cheap. Plus, they have a PC adapter, so I got everything on PC for VR if I want to play it on there too, like Half-Life Alyx or Super Hot and everything else.
Oh yeah, I've heard Half-Life Alyx is like one of the top,
like the big ones,
the top VR games ever.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to try that whenever that VR adapter comes in. So there's a lot of versatility with it. But nonetheless, you'll get to play Deucy, so whatever I get is your benefit as well. All right, well, I guess with that, we're ready to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo. All right, Deucy, we are here at our main event. We are talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which originated in 1984. So this year is celebrating its 40th anniversary, which is kind of mind-blowing to me because, as you and I near 40, it's weird to think a lot of things we grew up with are also nearing 40.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so the Ninja Turtles started under Mirage Comics. It was a comic company created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. They were like buddies from college, and they met, and they have the same sort of fondness for art and same styles and whatnot, and they just kind of bonded over that. And they were friends in 1983, and then Kevin Eastman drew a masked turtle with nunchucks to make Laird laugh, and he had the words Teenage Mutant to the drawing, and thus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were born. So the whole idea was like it was parodying comics at the time, where like there was two teenagers in New Teen Titans, mutants in X-Men, and they have the ninja skill and training of Daredevil, which is a connection I never really put together. But it makes perfect sense.
I don't know when I learned that, but it was before the Daredevil series came out on Netflix.
Oh, really?
And all of a sudden there were a lot of connections where like Daredevil's mentor is Stick. Yeah. But the Turtles have Splinter.
Exactly.
Daredevil fights the Hand, and they fight the Foot.
Yeah,
the Foot Clan.
And they, they sort of get their powers from like radioactive material.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of connections that like for some reason, I knew them, right? But I kept them separate. And I was reading about this, like, well, that makes perfect sense now. Like, they're clearly influenced by Daredevil. So Mirage Comics, excuse me, I'll go a little bit further back. So each of the Turtles is named after a Renaissance artist. So they were Italian Renaissance artists, I should say. And I guess the idea originally was going to have Japanese names, and somehow these Italian artists, which were Leonardo and Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo, it somehow just fit, like when they put them together.
Yeah, I can't imagine them with any other names at this point.
It's really hard to do that, and it's always hard because again we grew up with it, so it's hard to separate ourselves. Like trying to take a step back and be like, what else could it have been? You're like, I don't know what else it could have been. There's nothing. Like the names of these characters are the names of these characters. Like I can't name them anything else.
Dave, John,
Tom. Yeah, John the Turtle. That makes totally intimidating. He's a Mutant Ninja Turtle. Yeah. So then later on, Mirage was founded in Eastman and Laird's home with a tax refund and a loan.
That makes sense.
Just much like a lot of things in the 80s, apparently starting in a garage. It was a lot easier to do back in the day than it is now. And then they printed about 3,000 copies of the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they sold all through them within a few weeks. Sometime after that, Playmates Toys paid for the license, which is really just when the popularity exploded. This is really when you and I were growing up. We were just at the right age at the right time in the early 90s, where, Turtle Mania was everywhere. This was everything.
For the longest time, I didn't even know there was an original comic.
Me neither.
Black and white or otherwise. Like, I only knew the cartoon and the games, and then the movies, the live action movies.
Yeah, and obviously it was a success. The toys, they had like 400 different figures and vehicles, which sounds about right, because I remember going to different stores or wherever else you'd see them for sale, and there's always some new turtle thing I'd never seen before.
Yeah, they didn't even have to be based on anything in the cartoons or anything. It was just like, here's the new flavor of the week. Now they're like punk rockers.
Yeah, whatever idea they could possibly make out of the standard molds, they did, and it sold like $1.1 billion in 4 years. That's a lot of freaking money in the late 80s just on toys and merchandise and whatever else that existed. So, of course, they would make a movie out of that.
Yeah.
And the movie was released in 1990. It had darker tones similar to the comics. So I didn't grow up with the first movie. I'd seen it after I'd seen part 2.
I think me too.
Right? Because part 2 is definitely more catered towards us, because by then, like, it was more like the cartoons. It was more like a live action cartoon than anything
Very
else.
much. Yeah.
But the original movie is one of the highest grossing independent movies, which is a weird thing to consider, that it's Ninja Turtles, but it was an independent movie. It was on a budget of $13.5 million. It grew on to make $200 million, so definitely made its money back. And then in 1987, the TV show premiered, which again, this was like Saturday morning. It was afternoon. This was like what I watched whenever I got home from like usually first or second grade, before Power Rangers.
I recently saw on Netflix they were running the first season just like on a loop, and boy, did I not remember the first season at all.
Yeah, I don't know if I had really seen much of the first season, because it was 87.
Yeah, and I just remembered, and I also have come to realize that I don't remember specifics about the cartoon. I just remember whatever transferred from the cartoon into the games. But when I watched the first season, I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff in here that's in the most recent game, Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
I was like, they really went back to the well for that one.
They did. Shredder's Revenge, if you haven't played that out there, you should. It's one of the best beat 'em ups you could buy right now.
Yeah.
And it's just a love letter to everything Ninja Turtles, which, these, like Shredder's Revenge, you see a lot of things that came from these earlier games, but these early games are what we're here to talk about. So, another thing I want to is, like, there were 2 sequels to the original movie. There was, like we mentioned, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze, which was like my favorite movie of all time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. And there's also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which I remember seeing in the theater with one of our friends. I don't know if you remember. His name was Nick. I think he was in 2nd or 3rd grade with us.
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I just remember he had like a giant super soaker. That was like our thing he had. But I remember seeing that in the theater, and like, I know I liked it, but I know I didn't like it as much as 2. I think the Japanese samurai theme and like going into the past, like, it just wasn't working for me when I was like 8 years old.
I remember seeing it only on TV, maybe once. Maybe we rented it from Blockbuster or something, but like, that was it. I'd only seen it that one time. I don't remember much about it. It's not that I hated it, but I also was like, okay, that was a thing.
It's just fine. Like, it just doesn't have the fun or the charm of the second movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's serious, but it's not. It's a really weird story, but nonetheless, this still made money. It didn't make as much money as 2, but it made a ton of money. And of course, with everything Ninja Turtles, they had to make a bunch of games. So today we're talking about the 3 first games that are out on the Nintendo. There was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and of course there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project. And the first game we're going to talk about is the first one that started it all. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo, which was released June 25th, 1989. So I was just like, I wasn't even 4 years old when this game had just released.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's crazy. I remember playing this when I was in 1st grade. Do you remember playing this as a kid? Like, what history do you have with this first game?
Very vaguely. I don't think I played it until we met and I went to your house.
That would make sense.
Yeah. My friend who lived across the street had Terminator. Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. So that was my first foray into Turtles games and loved that one. Then when I played this one at your house, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. So I vividly remember getting this at Video Express. I like to talk about them because I got like Fester's Quest there. I got a bunch of my games growing up. Batman. Video Express apparently had a big piece of my childhood, even though it was like there for like a year or two. I don't know where that store went, but I remember getting this game because I was very excited because it was Ninja Turtles. Like even in first grade for Halloween at school, I dressed up as Donatello. Like it just made sense.
I was Raphael one year.
Yeah, I'd imagine like all of us. I'd have to ask Vito if he dressed up for Halloween. I'd have to ask him. Maybe the circle would be complete, and his cousin might be Michelangelo. I don't know. But I remember getting this game and being really excited to play it. But also, what was notable was the cover. The cover had the Ninja Turtles with the red headbands, like much like the comic did. So that already confused me right at the beginning.
They looked very much like a colorized version of the comics.
They did, yeah. And this game was developed and published by Konami. One sort of difference here, though, is that it was developed by Konami, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was developed by Ultra Games. So back in the 80s, Nintendo, in an attempt to sort of cap the oversaturation of market that ultimately killed it, like with E.T. and the Atari, they limited publishers to developing or publishing 5 games per year. So what some companies were doing, like Konami, is they would make these sort of shell corporations that were sort of subsidiaries of the main company, but not, so they could make more games. So Ultra Games is Konami, and that was their way to get around the licensing restrictions, and they released more games on this. So
they released a bunch because I remember Ultra as being like one of the things I saw all the time in Nintendo.
That logo is immediately noticeable. Like that, I associate that as much as like LGN or something as far as like early logos. But the first game they released was Metal Gear. That was their first Ultra Games release, and then Ninja Turtles 1 and 2 would also be released under the Ultra Games label. So that's interesting on its own. It's like Konami has a lot of history with Ninja Turtles, including developing the infamous arcade game, which we'll talk about.
I wonder when they lifted that because Turtles 3, I think, is Konami, and going forward, you see Konami a ton on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I'd imagine maybe it's something like close to Super Nintendo. They took that restriction off, and by proxy, then the NES didn't have that restriction because at this time too, like in '91 when Super Nintendo was out, Genesis was out and making a killing. So it's also like I think Nintendo might be shooting themselves in the foot. They're like, yeah, well, if we restrict everyone to 5 games a year and Sega's pumping out whatever, that's going to make it a lot harder for us to beat them when we're releasing like a quarter of the games there, wherever the case might have been, right? So I'd imagine at some point they're like, yeah, like this restriction made sense for the time, but I think people are at a point now where they're not releasing 37 games a year like they were with the Atari.
Did Capcom have a shell corporation? Because Capcom was everywhere too.
I was trying to look them up because I was trying to find what other companies had these sort of shell corporations. It was kind of hard to find because anytime I look this up, it would come up with like actual shell companies.
Whoops.
Or like it wouldn't really,
Shell Oil.
Yeah, it wouldn't combine with like Konami or anything else. So I was like, I swear I've heard others. I just can't recall and I can't really find them. But I imagine Capcom feels like they had to have back then. They were releasing so many games. I'm sure other publishers did. Like, I don't know. I'm sure something out there can tell us who else sort of did this loophole to release more games.
Because Capcom was very distinguished with their purple boxes.
They were.
It didn't matter what the title was. They always were going to have a purple border.
Yeah, it was great. So it's interesting. Like I said, like this was released under Ultra, which is Konami, but not Konami. Where it's silly. So this game, the story, very much like any Ninja Turtles story. Shredder kidnaps April, and he has the Life Transformer gun, which can turn Splinter back into human form. And you don't want him to do that, so the Turtles have to go through New York, and they fight, a lot of mainstays like Bebop and Rocksteady. They rescue April, and then we'll get to disarming bombs at the Hudson River Dam.
God.
And ultimately, there's a big showdown at the Technodrome, and once Shredder's defeated, the Turtles celebrate with pizza. That was the thing. It's
of course.
You celebrate any victory with the Turtles. They always involve pizza.
They always had the best looking pizza.
They did. It was just very cheesy, very delicious.
I also noticed when I was replaying these games, like it was sort of the stereotypical thing that April was the damsel in distress, but you always rescued her like pretty quick.
You did. It was always like within a few levels, like, all right, well, I guess it wasn't that big of a threat. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, now she's here to help.
Yeah. So this game, despite what the cover shows, it does theme each turtle as they should be. So like when you actually play as in, like Donatello is purple, Raphael is red, et cetera, et cetera. And this game, when I was a kid, I enjoyed it, and a lot of the music sticks in my head. Of course, there's challenges with the difficulty, which I think are just utter nonsense for a kid's game of this level.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this was likely to combat rentals, as many games did back then. Playing it now, I actually really like this game overall. I enjoy it a lot, but, of course, this is with like save states, and I'm also not 6 years old trying to defeat some of these levels, because it gets insane, right?
Yeah, no, I was not looking forward to replaying this when we talked about this topic, because I did go back into it in the collection, and it has save states, and I still hate it with a passion. I got up to the dam level again, like I did all the time when I was a kid, and no amount of save states is letting me pass that level. It is ridiculous.
So I was actually able to get through those because right as I put a save state at the beginning of the level. We should talk about this too, sort of the format of the game. It's got a cool concept. It has an overworld, which is interesting for the time. You start out sort of I guess sort of like in a warehouse kind of level at first.
You're on the docks.
And you're on the docks, yeah. So each turtle, we should say, has different abilities in a way. Donatello, who's my favorite to begin with, because we share the same name. He's I want to say he's not broken in this game. But he's definitely the most powerful because he has the most range. He seems to hit the hardest, maybe because his bow staff is so long and it just hits him multiple times.
Yeah.
And then, Raphael to me is the worst. He has the shortest range because of his size, and they spin, so it's like you have to be really close to enemies to hit them.
I think Michelangelo is sort of medium range, but I think his weapon is the weakest. Like, it takes the most hits to kill something.
And he has a little bit more range than Raphael does, and then Leonardo is really just the midpoint. Like
he's all around.
Yeah, he has pretty decent range. His down attack kind of sucks because like he stabs this sword downward.
Yeah.
So I've seen speedruns of this game, so I kind of had a better expectation on how I should approach it with Donatello and like swapping out turtles and whatever. And once I did that, the game was a lot more fun. But when I got to the Hudson River level, which is the second level, I set a save state at the beginning and actually could get through the level without dying, which is something I could never do as a kid. But it's really stupidly hard. Like the thing is the controls are not intuitive, especially for not a kid. Like even for me, I was trying to get used to how you sort of swim up or swim down.
Yeah.
And there's like a current kind of bringing you.
There's a current that they never tell you about.
Yeah, you can never see it. There's nothing visible on the screen that shows you that. And what's worse is you have, I think it's about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
2:15, I think.
Something like that. Very short time to disarm 8 bombs around the level. So the way you disarm them is you just go up to them. Your turtle has a little animation. Luckily, the time stops. And you have to do that 7 more times. And then April will give you an update in the pause screen saying, there's 6 bombs left. The level isn't that huge. The problem is like there's a lot of hazards like these electrified, what would you call them, beams that come down that are up for like 2 or 3 seconds. So if you miss a cycle, you're there for 2 or 3 seconds waiting for it to trigger, to stop.
And the time that they're off only comes into play if you're fighting against the current.
Yes.
Which is annoying.
So controls are, like I said, they're really awkward because you're tapping A and like there's sort of like what's the word I'm looking for?
Momentum?
Yeah, there's a momentum or inertia you have to build up before you can swim up and forward.
I found myself like really tapping A to get going, and then all of a sudden he started moving too much.
Yeah.
Directly into that seaweed.
So I have to see. I think I captured my run on there because I did restart. I have to restart it twice because like I just want to see if I could get through this without dying, and I could. But then once you get through half of the level, it gets infinitely worse because now there's electrified seaweed, which is the worst part of this game.
It's got the most unimaginable hitboxes. I don't know what I can swim through and what I can't.
It's a very narrow space. It's this is what is most notorious about this game. I think if you ask anyone who grew up in that time frame we did, and you mentioned the first Ninja Turtles game on NES, they're going to talk about this Hudson River level because it is just notoriously awful. And granted, I did it now. I'm 39. Like I get through it, and I had like 3 seconds to spare. But again, as a kid, this level was a nightmare because those electrified seaweed drain your health really fast. And then the idea is you can switch characters at will, which is a really cool concept as well because you have 4 to play as, and instantly you drop in another turtle.
Yeah.
But then you have to get through the whole level without dying. And then after that, the whole game opens up because that's when you step in the overworld. And you're going through each sort of warehouse level to get like health or missiles for your turtle car.
When the last bomb is diffused, do you go right into level 3 or do you still have a little bit? Okay.
Yes. So as soon as you disarm the last bomb, the turtles say, okay.
Yeah.
And then you go on the next level. Thank God.
But do they get their health refilled in the 3rd level?
I can't remember if my health was refilled, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I want to say it was because I would have been really irritated otherwise. The one beneficial thing is that there are infinite continues in this game. So at worst, you'll have to restart a lot of segments. I think it's a pretty ambitious game for what it is, but I think a lot of the hate is warranted in most regards.
Even if you can get past the 2nd level of all levels, the 3rd level then becomes this crazy maze. It's cool that you get to drive in the turtle van.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We all loved that car and that toy, and the turtle van gets missiles and everything, but it sort of becomes this weird maze, and you have to make sure you have enough missiles to get through all the roadblocks.
Yes, and that's where I got through the other night because I didn't get very far. I got to the fourth level where it's like a construction yard where you rescue Splinter, and I got to the boss to rescue Splinter, and I died. I was like, well, I'll go on and play. I guess we're playing Call of Duty now, you know? So, again, it's a really cool idea. And then you do have an overall map in your pause screen with it sort of highlights the point of interest, which are really just points where you go through like a sewer or a building to get more items or wherever else.
Or pizza.
Because you really need health. And that's the other thing that sucks about this game too, is like there's certain areas that have health, but you might lose a lot of health getting to that health. Yeah. So it's kind of a negative effect to even bother.
What was the story about the enemies in this game? Like, it wasn't originally supposed to be a Turtles game or something like that, because none of the enemies make sense in this except for the bosses.
Most of them don't. Like, you might see Mousers, which are probably the most recognizable. You don't really see any of the Foot Clan necessarily.
They look like putties from Power Rangers.
They look more like putties, and there's like this weird
rock monsters.
There's rock monsters, but there's some that also look like these burning sand guys.
Oh yeah,
that spawn off.
They throw out flaming like chicken
embers.
Nuggets.
Yeah, and so there's a lot you won't recognize in this game because of that, and it's where the foot soldiers are just like blobs on the overworld that you can run over, which is funny that you can just. Vehicular homicide apparently is not beyond the Ninja Turtles.
But just like the cartoons, they explode like robots.
They do. Yeah. So
can't have us killing humans.
Yeah. And overall, like I said, as a kid, I could see why this game is a nightmare because it is possible to beat, but you have to just grind and stick with it because the later levels are even worse. Like I was watching a speedrun of the Technodrome and there's crap all over the place flying at you. It just looks like the worst nightmare. Really, like if you don't have Donatello or Leonardo, you're done. Mm-hmm. You may as well just kill off the rest of the turtles and and restart because you can go get the turtles. You can rescue them, I think, once per level. But again, like you might lose turtles getting to do that. You may as well just hit continue and restart.
Or save states now.
Or save states, yeah. So when we should say, like we kind of passively mentioned it, but we've been playing these on the Ninja Turtle Cowabunga collection, which is like such an amazing value for what it is. $20, you get basically every 18 or 8-bit and 16-bit game that was released, plus the arcade games. There's a ton of historical stuff in there. There's like strategy guides. Like that is like the most beloved collection they put into.
Yeah, they did such a good job with it, especially those strategy guides. Like I was actually utilizing that on the pause menu just to swim around and see where the bombs were.
It was really helpful for stuff like that. And it gives tips, like it gives you things I didn't know about. Like if you throw the boomerang, you get a few sub weapons in here.
I was going to tell you about this.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if you throw the boomerang, pause and switch to another turtle, that turtle gets the boomerang as well.
If he catches it.
Yeah. So it doesn't disappear necessarily. It's just you can flicker it out, and then each turtle can have boomerangs, which is I think one of the better weapons in there.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like this game is just it's hard as hell no matter how you slice it. It's just you can play it for the nostalgia. I think it's fantastic now with the save states and the tips and everything else. But in 1990, this game was definitely one of the hardest Nintendo games I'd ever played.
It was funny. You listed the stages and their names and everything. And like for the longest time growing up, I had no idea that these were... I mean, I know locations in New York, but I didn't know the game was basing them on...
I had no idea either.
Like, I was like, JFK Airport? They went to the airport?
Yeah, it's like they have streets in New York, Hudson River Dam, Wall Street rooftops, JFK Airport, South Bronx Lair, and of course the Technodrome.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because there's only 6 stages in this game, but it's a pretty lengthy game because you have to do things in between those to get there. And like whether you have to go through transfers of buildings, because you enter a building, it's going to exit somewhere, which might be somewhere on the map that you couldn't access before.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool game in terms of the ambition it tried to go for. It's just the difficulty kind of kills this game. It's not the most fun. And I think there's 2-player in here, right? Or is it 1-player?
No, it's only one.
Is it only one? Yeah. So you can even. I guess you'd have to switch off with your buddy if you're doing that.
I think you could do it kind of like I think we did this once maybe where everybody just picks a turtle and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to the pause, I'm gonna switch, and now you get to play.
Like, I'm almost dead.
Yeah,
well, give me some health when you can. So fun game to revisit. I like it, but I also can objectively say like it's not a great game either because it has a lot of problems and they're pretty big problems, especially in 2024. These are even worse in the early 90s, A couple of speedruns because, of course, there's people who have just mastered this game. Like, I don't know how much, I probably put like maybe an hour or two, like when I played this recently, and I got, like 4th level, which is still really hard. That's with save states restarting, continues, wherever else. But someone named Skunky48 beat this. He holds the record, or they hold the record for any percent with 16 minutes, 33 seconds, which is ridiculous. There's Glitchless, which is done by the Master, the NE Master. That's a weird name. And the Master, 18 minutes 3 seconds.
Maybe it's Thine Master.
Thine Master,
I don't know.
yeah. And they're tied. Was it? I'm quite tied. New.
Oh, so that'll come up later in the next couple of games.
Oh, did you put that on there?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So they tied 14th for any percent no out of bounds. Is that the category?
Maybe.
That's what I'm assuming noob might be.
I was wondering. I was like, what is this noob? Like,
I know OOB is out of bounds, so it must be no out of bounds or something.
Yeah.
So again, people master this game. We have not. I don't know. Like I've seen speedruns of this, and it's just ridiculous how
they just walk like they know the programming and they know an enemy isn't going to hit them.
Yeah, they know exactly where enemies are going to spawn on the screen. They use Donatello's bow staff to its most optimal effects. And they get through the game in like 20 minutes. It's really ridiculous. It's worth watching if you're not going to play this, check out a speed run. You can also witness how ridiculous the game is and how it's like, it looks like a machine's playing it. But also the Cowabunga collection has a watchable mode. So you could hit X, I think it is, and you could watch like a playthrough of it and also jump in at certain points, which is another great feature it has.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, get me past this level.
Yeah.
Okay, now get me past this level.
Like I don't feel like playing this boss. Just do
okay,
it for
you know
me.
what? Get me past the Technodrome. Thank you.
So, we leave Ninja Turtles 1 and where it's at. It was fun for what it was. It was another piece of Ninja Turtles that we could have as kids. And it's like, we had no other games to play for Ninja Turtles except for this.
Funny fact about this one, like we're about to go into Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. But in Japan, this is Ninja Turtles. This is TMNT. Yeah. And the first one we just talked about was called, and this is kind of awesome, Extreme Ninja Turtles. Legend of the Extreme Ninja Turtles.
That's even better.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they're Extreme Turtles, then they have a legend behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the game was not as legendary.
Nope. I think it was pretty much the same in Japan.
It was, yeah. But I think this next game is legendary.
Yes.
For many ways, more ways than we expect. So we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. This was released in 1990 under Ultra Games from the Nintendo. And they had the full title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, because they wanted to make sure it was distinguished from the first game. Like, you couldn't confuse the two. Which you couldn't anyway. If you're looking at this game and the first game, there's no way you can confuse the two, I don't think.
They also wanted you to know, because at this point, the arcade game had come out in arcades. And they were like, hey, you want that, but at home?
Yeah, so to give
definitely go for this one.
Some context for the NES arcade game. The arcade game was released in 1989, also by Konami, and was like a huge, huge hit. They had outsourced U.S. manufacturing to keep up with demand, which tells you how popular this game was.
Whoa.
They had 2- and 4-player cabinets, which, I don't recall seeing this cabinet too much when I was a kid. It was always like Turtles in Time. But when I did see this, it was like a special thing because they had X-Men had the four stick configurations.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing 2 sticks that often.
Me neither. It was
when I saw that.
It was typically this because you had your favorite children, you would choose them, and God, like this game holds up today. Yeah. I would say the graphics are some of the best sprite work of the early 90s of any arcade game.
They were pretty much the same as Turtles in Time. They didn't change much for that one.
Yeah.
When they made this one.
It had the theme in the beginning. Like that track mode is like one of the most badass things I remember as a kid.
Oh, that was definitely the catch. When it was just on demo mode.
Oh my goodness,
you would see it and hear it, and you're like, I want to go over there.
You'd hear like the beam coming out of the sewers,
yep.
and then the Turtles theme kick in, and like that's all you need. There's my 50 cents just for you. So when that, the arcade game was obviously a huge deal, right? Like it was one of the best selling arcade games of the early 90s. There was like 25,000 cabinets that had been sold by May 1990. So within six months, they sold 25,000 arcade cabinets. That's huge. And of course, they had to port the game to Nintendo, and we got a little bit of a different version than what the arcade version was. This one had a couple extra levels and a couple extra bosses. Like the first part of Scene 3 has Tora, who's like this polar bear type boss with like a biker jacket, which is kind of fun.
I thought it was a white wolf, but yeah, I can see bear.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was like it's a wolf.
Yeah,
but he looks like a polar bear to me. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's like a wolf thing. Yeah, sorry.
but with a cool like Terminator jacket.
He has a Terminator jacket. Yeah, and there's also Shogun, who's a new boss, and there's also Scene 6, which is like all brand new in this game. It's like a dojo.
Well, even the snowy level is new.
It is new, yeah. And that's the first part of Scene 3.
What's funny is, like I said, I played this first before I ever played the original arcade version. In fact, I don't know if I played the arcade version in arcades when we were younger. I just played it when it came out for Live Arcade, Xbox. And the Nintendo version, is how, or like the arcade is how I remember the Nintendo version. Until I went back and played it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was still good, but it was like, you could definitely tell the differences.
So I unfortunately didn't own this when I was a kid. This was one I really wanted to get, but it was just something that I never really saw for sale. I didn't really even see it for rent, but I remember like one of my friends had it and I played it at his house. And of course I remember the iconic cart art and the box art where it's like the turtles are bursting through this brick wall.
Yep.
And to my eyes, like this looked and played like the arcade game.
Yeah.
Granted, like I probably played the arcade game once at that time. I don't even remember like if I got to play it much. It was probably like 1/4 and I was done, right?
I just have to watch demo over and over.
Yeah. So I was really excited to play this when my friend got it because it was a really amazing game. It was 2 players. Granted, it's not 4 players like the arcade version, but again, you have turtles at home. That's all that mattered.
Yep.
And this was an infinitely better game than the original game was. It's a lot more fun. It's a more traditional beat 'em up experience, and it's a really good beat 'em up for the Nintendo. Like when you compare it to like Double Dragon or some of the earlier beat 'em ups, it's really competent and it's a pretty damn good port of a much bigger, of its much bigger 16-bit cousin.
I feel like we played this a lot together, even though you didn't own it. I must have like borrowed it from my friend, and then we played it either at my house or I would bring it over.
Yeah, it's to me this is an NES classic for for many reasons. I think it plays really well. Of course, there's now you could say the concessions are there, like the sprites are smaller, there's less animations, but again, considering it was a condensed arcade game, it's really nice. It looks really, really good for what it is.
And I guess this is to combat the rentals, but like it still has the arcade cheapness.
It does. It's really hard, and
the bosses like are pretty much unavoidable. Like they are.
Their hitboxes are inconsistent, so you get a lot of cheap hits in, and not to them, it's to you. And there's you have like a lot of a lot of the bosses from the arcade in here. So there's Rocksteady, there's Baxter Stockman you fight a couple times. There's Granitor, who's like, I think he's like the mech guy. I forgot what the hell he was. Granitor?
Is he one of those rock soldier guys?
Maybe he was in the factory. I mean, he might be one of the like Trag or something like that.
Yeah.
Then there's Trag. There's of course Shredder, and then the dojo boss, which is Shogun. All these bosses look really cool. Again, like there's not many other co-op experiences on Nintendo quite like this one, and I think it's notable for a lot of reasons. And then one fun fact that I wanted to mention too was the infamous Pizza Hut coupon that was included with some versions. So pizzas and turtles are like peanut butter and jelly, and some of the later version, I think it was the later release, it had a coupon right on the box that even stipulated. I didn't know there was 2 versions of the box, like one that has the Pizza Hut mention, one without. And then the cost different too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, like the Pizza Hut cover box is $13 for loose cart. I don't know how you could tell the difference between the carts. It's really weird to me that there's a difference.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the cart.
It's
not. Just on the box.
I guess not. But a complete copy with the Pizza Hut mention is $68, and then the no Pizza Hut version, which is what I have, which I didn't know.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, but it's like $93, which I didn't pay that much for that. But I was like, didn't know it was that much. It's like 30% more for having a freaking.
I feel like it released first with the Pizza Hut coupons, and then
that's what I thought.
The later
right?
editions got no.
Maybe not. Yeah. So it's where there's a little bit of a cost difference in there.
I chuckled when I was replaying this on the collection because some of the levels had Pizza Hut advertised in them, but now it's just like black posters of nothing.
It's just blotched out.
It doesn't even just say pizza and like generically, it's just black.
Yeah, it's funny though because Limited Run did a physical run for this, and they did include a pizza coupon that you could actually use for a personal pizza.
Nice.
They made it an effort. They were saying like we were doing this physical version. We really want to make sure we get a pizza promotion, and they did. It's really funny. It has the same look, and it's like the duplicate of the original one. It's really cool.
Another fun Easter egg on the cover is, I don't know if you noticed, but on Michelangelo's skateboard, he has the symbol from what's his name, the comedian.
Yes,
in Watchmen.
In the Watchmen. Yeah. I discovered that's actually in a I think was in the Cowabunga collection that mentioned it. I think it was. There's like a little thing in there. It was like a little info bit. I thought that was really cool too because again I didn't notice that, and of course when I played Cowabunga collection I was like, oh, that's only been there for 25 whatever 30 years
since the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what more we could say about this game. Like this is like one of the more quintessential NES games to me.
Yeah. I recently, when I played it, I had looked up the speed runs for them. Both the Japanese version and the US version are held by OM Quat.
Like Omquat?
I guess, yeah, Omquat. and only a few minutes apart. I'm assuming because of the text that you have to maybe
You
scroll through.
yeah.
So in the Japanese version, 26 minutes 23 seconds. The US version, 30 minutes and 41 seconds. So I decided
4 minutes.
like that's a lot of text.
Yeah.
Maybe there was like an additional cutscene or something that you.
Something. I'd be curious to check a video of that out.
But anyway, I put that into a timer and I counted down the 30 minutes and 41 seconds. And in the time it took this person to beat the entire game, I got it to about halfway through the 5th level.
Wow.
Or was it the 5th? It's right after the snow.
Well, there's 7 levels, so you got pretty far. You might have to make some optimal changes to your speed run, but
Yeah, probably not die as much.
Yeah.
I ended up using 2 continues and all my lives in those continues.
Yeah, one cool thing I will say about the Cowabunga collection, again, it does have a lot of enhancements too. Like there is a level select in there. There's like a god mode. You can remove penalty bombs, which are those, I know they're called penalty bombs, but those random bombs that drop from the sky at certain points.
Yeah, why was that? Was that like a time limit thing?
I feel it might have been a time limit thing, or maybe it's just another hazard to eat quarters, even though we're not using quarters at home. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And there's also a nightmare mode, which adds more enemies to the game, which is pretty crazy.
Ooh, thank you. This one, for my timed run, I turned all of that off. So it was the authentic Nintendo version
like
with screen flicker,
the base version,
slow down, all of that.
Yeah, but yeah, I really do love this game. It's definitely my, I didn't put on my, I don't think I put on my top 10 NES games. I don't think I did.
I don't.
It might have been like an honorable mention or something like that.
Yeah, it might
but
have been.
it's up there. It's like probably top 20. It's one of the games I have the most fondness for from that era, despite not owning it. Ironically, like anytime I could get my hands on it, it was always a great time.
Well, that's true. I still don't own it. I have 1 and 3 now, but I still don't have this one for some
Oh, that's
reason.
right, because we were. Oh, I should have checked when I was at the store yesterday. Yeah, because I meant to. I don't think it was there because I feel like I would have passively seen it in the case.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I do see one of that one because I picked up a game there. Yeah.
Maybe we'll find it later.
We could. Yeah, it's totally possible. Yeah. All right, Deucy. Well, we're gonna reach the end of our trilogy here, and this is kind of a weird one for me because I didn't get to play this at all when I was a kid. It just disappeared from existence. Maybe I was just too much in the Super Nintendo. But we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, released in February 1992, published and developed by Konami. And this game was sort of based on the 5th season, or based on the TV series released around the 5th season, which I should say, like the TV show lasted for 10 seasons. Didn't feel like that when I was a kid, but also maybe because midway through I was into Power Rangers, so I wasn't really paying attention to Turtles at that time, true. Right?
And like everything just felt like a rerun at that point.
It did,
because it was on daily.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, Power Rangers Man just took over, and I don't even know when it was on anymore. Like Turtles really. It's interesting, like how popular it was and how quickly the popularity seemed to just kind of die off for whatever reason.
So I do remember hearing about how they kind of neutered it in the later seasons.
Yeah.
Because it was getting so popular, parents, of course, didn't like the violence. Even though from the first season, they made the concession that the foot soldiers were robots. So the Turtles could use their weapons and everything against these robots. And then even that was too much. So all of a sudden, the Turtles started not using their weapons, kind of like in the movies.
Yeah.
And then they were getting like random new things. Like Michelangelo went from nunchucks to like a grappling hook on a turtle shell type thing.
I remember that thing.
He was swinging it around like a rope. And like Donatello, he had a stick, and yet he still had to change up into something else. Like it was very weird towards the end.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't remember any of that when it happens.
Yeah.
And then, I think Secret Galaxy maybe did a video on Ninja Turtles, but, there's probably a bunch of YouTube videos I've seen over time where they've talked about that, like sort of the decline of Turtles and, especially with the show where it lasted like 10 seasons, but it did that thing where partway through they changed everything for whatever reason and it just kind of killed it for kids and everyone.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like they're still releasing games. The games were as popular as ever, but the show was just kind of on a decline, it felt like. So the Manhattan Project was released in 92, like we mentioned. The story's here. Oh, yes.
This is after Turtles in Time is already out, right?
It is, because I got Turtles in Time, like, would have been early 92, late 91, I want to say. I forgot when I got it, but I think just everyone's transitioning to Genesis and Super Nintendo. Yep. So this was just kind of not under the radar, but it's like if you had a Nintendo, you would play this. But if you had Super Nintendo or Genesis, you probably weren't going to get this either,
Yeah, because it's only February 92, but it is still an expensive game to get if you have like a complete version, which is what, $275?
Yeah, so a loose cartridge 33, which is reasonable, and then if you want a complete copy, $275, which I kind of expected because it's just. Again, I never saw this for sale back then. Like, I'm sure you could order it. I'm sure it existed. Wherever I was as a kid, I just never saw it.
This one, I think I've mentioned it before, but this was the very first game I rented at Blockbuster.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I was gonna say like I didn't even see this for rent because I would have loved to have played it.
Yeah, no, I don't
saw
know.
it in ads.
I don't know if I saw this in Nintendo Power and I said, hey, let's give this Blockbuster thing a shot.
Yeah.
Or if I just got to Blockbuster and saw it on the shelf.
You're probably, I just need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story here, we didn't go to the story in Ninja Turtles 2 because it's very much like the first game. It's just April and Splinter get kidnapped. You go out and rescue them. This very much the same. The Turtles are vacationing in Key West this time.
Oh, except all of Manhattan gets kidnapped.
Yeah, and all of Manhattan gets kidnapped in this instance. So April's broadcast is hijacked by Shredder. He kidnaps April, and he turns Manhattan into a floating island to lure the Turtles to try to stop him. You know, kind of a cool story in that sense, but it doesn't really matter because, again, this is very much like the second game. Not much has changed in this. It looks really great. I think this is one of the better Nintendo games to release, right? Like, I think it looks really solid for what it is. The music's really good, but really a lot of this game is more of the same. There's not a whole lot that'll distinguish it too much from the second game. The Turtles have special abilities now, which is really cool, but they use health. It feels like you have a lot less health in this game than even in part 2.
Well, because those special abilities, sometimes you use them on accident.
Yeah.
But you did have special abilities in the second game. They just didn't take health, which I thought was very nice of
That's
them.
the way it should be. Or,
Yeah.
you know, I always profess my love for Street Rage 4, but I think it did it right where your specials take health away and you can regain it as long as you don't get hit.
Yeah.
But back in the day, like the beat 'em up concession was you have a super ability thing that's like, you know, might get people off you. Takes some of the health away, which is like, well, I may as well just gotten hit at that point.
But in this one, in the third one, if you have only one little pip of life left, you can use that special infinitely.
Which is great.
Yes.
That helped a lot when I did play through this, you know, when it came out on the Cowabunga collection. You know, it's like, it's hard to say, like, this game, I really like it, but then it's like, Turtles in Time was out at this time. I'm pretty sure Hyperstone Heist was also out.
Yeah.
So this is just a lesser experience compared to those two, even though it's like a beefy game. There's 8 levels. The first level is Fort Slaughterdale. I think the names of these are really great, by the way. Fort Slaughterdale Beach, Typhoon Tidal Pool, Brooklyn Bridge is falling down. I like this one a lot. Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
Someone's a GNR fan over there at Konami. Sewer Pipe Nightmare, Technodrome, Vertigo Point Tower, and Krang Spaceship. And then you have a whole bunch of Turtles bosses. There's Bebop, Roxy, Slash, Dirtbag, Leatherheads in here, Toka and Razor.
This definitely used a lot more of the enemies that we knew from the cartoons.
It absolutely did.
And the movies, Toka and Razor.
Yeah. And oddly enough, because I remember the cover a lot about this John. I remember seeing the Triceratops in there. I didn't know who he was. His name was Triceraton. He's not even in the game. He's just on the cover for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's a really weird thing to include. Like maybe they ran out of time or I don't know what the case was, but I thought it was always weird that he's on the cover, yet he doesn't appear in this at all. And overall, like, I don't know, what can you say about this? Like, it's a really great beat 'em up. I'd say it's insanely difficult, more so than the second one.
I was about to say that. This, for some reason, this was never even released as an arcade game. We're pretty much past the arcades being popular. This game, the bosses suck.
And they take so much damage.
Yes.
It's obscene. Like, I mean, the levels themselves, I would say overall aren't terribly difficult. You know, it's just like standard beat 'em up fare. But you get to the bosses and they're just like a freaking grind. They take so many hits to kill.
Ground Chuck, you're on this like submarine that hasn't submerged. You're just on the top of it. And he like grabs a pipe off the wall and just constantly swings it like a baseball bat.
Yes.
There's no opening to get in there and finally get a hit on him.
And a lot of them have invincibility frames, so there's times where you can't really hit them because you're getting hit.
Yeah.
And you take so much damage that, like, really, I prefer the second game just for that reason because it's difficult and it has its arcade cheapness, but it's still within reason, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
This is like, once you get to the bosses, like, it's just a freaking nightmare with every single boss.
So when I was playing this one and 2, I did the same timer thing. And every boss would take like 2 out of my 3 lives for both games. 2 out of my 3 lives before I could finally defeat them. And then hopefully every second level I would get a 1-up back.
Yeah.
Which, if you do the math, that eventually runs out and you end up having to use continues.
And what I should know too, what makes this worse for the continues is you only have 3.
Yeah.
So I could deal with this if it was infinite continues, restart the level, whatever, with your 3 lives. But you also have 3 continues, and once that it's over. And it's really easy to lose all those.
Yes. I got to, in the time, the record time for this one which is only 4 minutes longer than the second game.
I find that incredible because it feels like the bosses are so much longer.
And it's by the same person, Umquat. 34 minutes, 16 seconds, or 34:35 for the US version.
That's funny. 20, 21 seconds or so.
Yeah. I did this, and I got to... what did I get to? I got to Welcome to the Jungle.
So that's like about halfway through the game, fourth level. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I think I got to the Sewer Pipe Nightmare, but barely.
Oh.
And it...
Was this with save states or just running through?
No, I just ran through.
Okay, that's pretty good.
But like I said, I also... I took the deaths and I took the continues. The continues, if you're at the boss, you have to start from the start of the level again.
Yep.
But then I would kind of go through the level quicker this time because I knew where I was going, what I was doing. Yeah, I don't see... I'd have to watch the run through to see how this person handles these bosses because that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's really again the most difficult part of the game are these freaking bosses. Like if they were maybe cut down in half as far as length and like their HP, maybe not as bad. But this will like it just gets tiring at that point. Like
yes.
The bosses are fun to fight. Like when you get to an end boss, you can deal with some nonsense or some BS. But when the whole boss fight and every single boss fight is nonsense and BS, it's just as kind of like. This isn't fun anymore, even with co-op.
With the Cowabunga collection, though, I did turn on, not for my timed run, but for my regular playthrough, I turned on the infinite lives.
Yeah.
And then I sort of made it a game where I knew I was going to die, so every death I would switch to the next turtle in line.
That's funny. Just rotate through.
And I just rotated through all 4 of them constantly. Sometimes I would have like 2 or 3 of them in one level.
I bet. Yeah. Overall, though, Deucy, I'd say like this game still really fun. It's enjoyable. It's just... It has its own problems that I think really are not to its benefits. And then of course, like, we'll do another episode later on about Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist, and like the next sort of 16-bit era of games.
Maybe even Shredder's Revenge thrown in with
those
those
guys. We got
guys.
to do that for sure. I think that's going to be in there. Because that's like the culmination of all of these, right?
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, there's a lot of history with TMNT and beat 'em ups, and Shredder's Revenge is sort of like the capstone of like everything over the last 30 years, and it's just damn near flawless in my eyes.
Yeah.
But these, Manhattan Project in particular, like, I don't know how to place this one because I really enjoy it. But then again, like, there's Turtles in Time. So it's like, if you had that, there's no reason to play this really.
Yeah.
This is, I assume a lot of people who played this probably had it because they only had a Nintendo or whatever the case was. It's kind of hard to recommend these days, despite its, it's nostalgia.
I think I still would because the graphics, you can tell, are definitely a step up. Like I said, Shredder's Revenge, they have those extra skins, and one of them is the Nintendo version of the Turtles. And
that is really cool.
They based it on this one, on Turtles 3. I would definitely recommend it more now that it's on the collection than the original version.
That's true.
Because the Infinite Lives is a godsend. Like, I just want to see the game and see the levels, so I know I'm going to die, and I don't care.
I should say that, yeah. I'll distinguish do because I'd say the NES one, if you were to play that on the NES, probably hard to recommend from you because you have the other games, right? But Cowabunga Collection, just with the Infinite Lives and God mode, run through it.
Yes.
Because it's just so much more playable when you're not worried about dying and losing all your continues and restarting the entire game.
It's also fun. They added this one move. It's a throw, but it's like you don't have to get in close. You just do down and the attack button, and they like stab the person and throw them behind them.
That seems to be the most effective move to use, I think. I don't know if it does more damage, but I was using that over and over and over.
It's a one-hit kill for every type of foot soldier.
Yeah.
And I know it's what the speedrunners utilize the most.
Because it's a super quick attack and it's easy to do. But again, then it becomes at that point, it's like, beat 'em ups are kind of repetitive by nature, but then at the same time with this, you're just hitting down B over and over and over, right?
Yeah.
You're doing one move. It doesn't make you feel like a turtle, because also like the turtle's moves aren't as effective as using that one little pull, vault thing.
Yeah.
But again, like if it's on the Cowabunga collection, you're going to play this. I'd say it's worth playing through with all the cheats on, or some of the cheats.
It's weird that like I have such fond memories of it. I know it was my first rental, but for some reason, I just remembered really, really liking this one, even though back then, I'm sure I got to only the same place that I can get to now.
Yeah.
With the continues and the way the bosses are cheap. But I would always think about like, oh, Turtles 2 was sort of a downgrade compared to this. But like you mentioned, it's probably better just because it's a little easier to get through. But I would still recommend both.
Yeah. Really, like I said, if you're playing the Cowabunga collection, there's no reason to go through any of the games. Like, just go through all of them because they're all fun in their own ways, and the enhancements really make it. Like, if you're going through the original game like an emulator, you're probably going to be really annoyed, especially when you fight any of the bosses, you know? Granted, you can use save states on emulators too. But nonetheless, like, I'd say these trilogy of games hold their place in the NES library. Like, I think all of them are influential in their own ways.
They could easily be top 20, all three of them, top 25.
I would say that's fair. Yeah, because, you know, again, like, despite my problems with 3, it's a really gorgeous beat 'em up on the Nintendo. And again, like, if you didn't have access to Super Nintendo, it's the best beat 'em up you could probably get at the time in 92. I don't think there's... nothing else comes to mind. Like, you know, what, Final Fight Mini? Was that what it's called?
Oh, yeah,
the NES one. But it's like, that's even more difficult to find. You probably would have never played that when you were a kid. I don't even know how good that one is either.
I didn't even hear about that until, like...
Mighty Final Fight, that's what it's called.
Recently.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, in 1992, it's more Turtles. It's more of what you want. So you're going to play it. I just think, like, it's sometimes going to be more annoying to play than anything else.
And to that point, like, that's why I added this note in the first game was Umquat played the first game, but only on that no out of bounds mode, and only got tied for 14th.
That's crazy.
Whereas they're the record holder in every other version of the beat 'em up types.
Well, and again, that does, you know, make sense because the first game is a drastically different game.
Yeah,
like, it's an open world, loosely termed adventure game.
It's like they were like, well, I'll just play this because it's Turtles, but it's definitely not my Turtles.
Yeah. So as far as ranking them, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be on the same page. I would say my rank is Turtles 2 is my favorite out of the 3, then 3. And as much as I enjoyed playing through some of 1 now, it's just dead last third for the difficulty and how annoying of a game it could be just to play. Like, if it was between obviously Turtles 3 and 1, there's no chance I would take 1 over 3, right? Like, I would play 3. I'd be like, hey, you want to do some co-op? Like, we'll have a much better time than we will with the first game.
1, we would have to be very determined. We're doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
Mine, I would also throw in the original arcade. I would probably
put that. Okay, if you want to include that.
First.
Yeah, first for sure.
And then the Nintendo version of that second. 3, third. Then, like, every other Nintendo game. Every Dark Souls and Elden Ring. And then maybe Turtles 1.
I think we should try out... Well, actually, it doesn't matter because I don't have a save state before the Hudson River. But I'd be curious if we tried to get through the Hudson... Well, it doesn't matter because you said you couldn't get through it.
No.
And I, like, barely got through it, so it wouldn't matter. But yeah, I think that's totally fair. Like, the first game is very hard to love. And, you know, there's enhancements that make it tolerable these days. But, again, in 1991, it was kind of a nightmare, even though it was Turtles and the only thing we had. The other 2 games, you could definitely play them, have a much better time. They're also 2-player, more importantly.
Yeah.
But if you have any thoughts about Ninja Turtles in general, games from the 8-bit era, 16-bit, or just Ninja Turtles, anything, please let us know. You can email us at LegionGamingPod@gmail.com. And, of course, we're on Instagram posting a lot of cool stuff at Legion Gaming Podcast. Next week, or I shouldn't say next week, in 2 weeks, we're doing another fun episode that Deucy suggested, which I think is a really cool one. It's going to be comparing the Genesis and Super Nintendo versions of Jurassic Park. That's going to be a fun episode because those games couldn't be more different than you could ever imagine as far as platforms and just what the games are like. This
isn't going to be a battle like the Aladdin episode. This one is just going
to...
We're going to talk about how they're different.
And there's significant differences. So I think that'll be a really awesome episode because... You know, I grew up with the Genesis version. Deucy grew up with the Super Nintendo version. But, you know, he would play the Genesis version at my house, and I would borrow the Super Nintendo and fail at his house and whatever, you know. So it'll be a really great episode. And then eventually we're going to do another part to Ninja Turtles because we'll never have enough Turtles. And we'll cover the 16-bit era. So that's forward to come. We don't know when. We just kind of fly by the seat of our pants sometimes and release what feels good. Until then, Deucy, any final words for our friends who are going to go off back into the sewers?
Oh, well, everyone, remember, wise men say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
I love it. Pizza sounds good right now. Thanks, everyone.